A polished black SUV rolls up to the edge of a flooded river crossing. It's nearly 5.5 meters long, weighs about 3.5 tons, and costs roughly $150,000. There's no bridge. The water is deep enough to drown the engine of any Mercedes G-Class, any Range Rover, any Land Cruiser ever built. The driver doesn't turn around, he presses a button. The car seals its doors, its windows, its engine bay, and drives straight into the river. For 30 minutes, it floats, it steers, it paddles, using its wheels like a duck, and it climbs out on the far bank, dripping, unbothered, ready to keep driving. Then he presses a second button. 2 panels slide open on the roof. A small platform rises, and a drone lifts off the car's back, climbs into the sky, and starts filming the SUV from above as it drives away. That car is not a Mercedes, it's not a Land Rover, not a Hummer, not a concept from a Stuttgart skunkworks. It's a Yangwang U8, built by BYD, a Chinese company that 20 years ago was a punchline, and the drone on its roof? That comes from DJI, the same Chinese company that's quietly putting helicopters and mountain porters out of work with flying machines that haul 100 kilograms of cargo through the sky. Today we're telling one story, not two. Because the swimming SUV and the cargo drone aren't separate miracles. They come from the same well, and in the U8's case, they literally share the same roof. But look past the viral clips and the jaw-dropping spec sheets, and the reality is far more calculated and far more troubled than it appears. Before we dive in, if you're the kind of person who wants to understand the machines reshaping the world before everyone else does, this channel is built for you. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, it takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely decides whether videos like this get made. Alright, let's go. To understand why these machines matter, you have to remember the world they were born into. For 100 years, the hierarchy of the car business was sacred. Germany owned engineering prestige, Japan owned reliability, America owned size and swagger. China's role in this order was simple and humiliating. Assemble our cars, copy our designs, stay in your lane. Foreign brands were forced into joint ventures with Chinese state partners, and the entire Western auto industry treated that arrangement as free money. The drone world had its own order. Heavy lifting belonged to helicopters, million-dollar machines with million-dollar operating costs, and nobody imagined the car and the drone becoming one product. Cars were ground machines, aircraft were sky machines. Detroit and Shenzhen lived on different planets. China's job in both industries was supposed to be the same, the factory floor, not the frontier. That order is now cracking from 2 directions at once, and the crack runs straight through a single vehicle. Here are the numbers, rapid fire, because each one deserves to land. The Yangwang U8, 4 independent electric motors, 1 on every wheel, producing a combined 880 kilowatts. That's roughly 1,180 horsepower, with 1,280 newton-meters of torque. 0 to 100 in around 3.5 seconds, in a vehicle the size of a small truck. It can perform a tank turn, spinning 360 degrees in place. And yes, it floats, sealed and steerable, for 30 minutes. Price, about 1.09 million yuan, roughly $150,000, squarely in Mercedes G-Class territory. Now the roof. The Lingyan drone system, built by BYD together with DJI and launched in March 2025, a roof-mounted smart hangar, 0.29 square meters of footprint, 215 millimeters tall, with automated doors and 3 positioning sensors. The drone inside can take off and land on the car while it's moving at up to 25 kilometers per hour. It can chase the vehicle at up to 54 kilometers per hour, fly back on its own from 2 kilometers away, and recharge on the roof from 20 to 80% in 30 minutes. The whole system, drone, dock, software, cost 16,000 yuan, about $2,200. That's a car that carries its own air force, as a factory option, for the price of a set of wheels on a Porsche, and DJI's bigger birds. The FlyCart 30, launched August 2023. 30 kilograms of payload, 16 kilometers of range, a price around $17,000. Then, in December 2025, the FlyCart 100, up to 100 kilograms on a single battery. And the flip side, the number nobody puts in the ads. In August 2025, the entire Yangwang brand sold 405 vehicles. The U8 itself, 77 units, down almost 23% in a single month, a masterpiece of engineering that almost nobody is buying. A drone ecosystem that changes the economics of entire industries. Same country, same roof, literally. So, what is actually going on here? Let's start with the car, because the car is where the physics gets absurd. The Yangwang U8 is not a normal electric SUV with a gimmick bolted on. Its entire existence is built on a single engineering decision. 4 motors, 1 per wheel, controlled independently, thousands of times per second. BYD calls it the E4 platform. Because each wheel has its own motor, the car's computer can spin the left side forward and the right side backward simultaneously. That's the tank turn. A 3.5-ton luxury SUV pirouetting on its own axis, blow a tire at highway speed, and the other 3 motors instantly compensate. Drive into deep water, and the car seals itself, and because each wheel spins independently, the wheels become paddle controls. The car can steer while floating. BYD calls it an emergency escape feature, not a boat mode. Watch the footage, and tell me that distinction matters. And because it's an extended-range EV, a petrol engine under the hood that exists purely as a generator, it delivers over 1,000 kilometers of combined range. But here's the part almost everyone missed the first time around. When BYD first showed the U8's Off-Road Player Edition in 2023, it arrived with something no production vehicle had ever carried: an integrated drone dock on the roof, housing a drone developed with DJI. Think about what that actually means for the use case. You're crossing remote terrain. You can't see over the next ridge, across the flood, around the landslide. So the car deploys its own scout. The drone rises, reads the terrain ahead, and sends the picture back, while the car is still moving. Every go-anywhere luxury vehicle ever built, the G-Wagon, the Range Rover, the Land Cruiser, was blind past the horizon. The U8 isn't. It carries its own eyes. Mini payoff number 1. The U8 was never really a product. It was a demonstration, a $150,000 press release written in horsepower. And the drone dock was the exclamation point. Hold on to that thought. So how did a company building battery-powered city cars a decade ago end up here? 3 decisions, each one a lesson in industrial strategy. Decision 1. Vertical integration before it was fashionable. Batteries, semiconductors, motors, even the mines. When the chip shortage of 2021 strangled every carmaker on Earth, BYD kept its lines running. Decision 2. Engineer surplus, redirected upward. BYD employs well over 100,000 R&D engineers. Once that army mastered the mass market, the question became, what do we do with the overflow? Yangwang is the answer. Remove the cost constraints and see what falls out. Decision 3. And here's where our 2 stories touch for the first time. Don't build everything yourself. When BYD needed a drone, it didn't start a drone division. It walked across town to the company that already owns the consumer drone world, DJI, and co-engineered the Ling Yuan system. 2 Shenzhen giants, 15 minutes apart, bolting their monopolies together. The result debuted in March 2025 on the Fangcheng Baobao 8 and is rolling out across BYD's brands Bao 5, Titanium 3, Denza N9, Tang L, Salian 07 for a flat 16,000 yuan. Notice what that is. In the West, automakers buy cup holders and infotainment from suppliers. BYD bought the sky, and the pricing message held. The U8 launched at $150,000, deliberately in G-class airspace. The message to German boardrooms wasn't, "We're cheaper." It was, "We're in your house now." Mini payoff number 2. The U8's mission was never to sell in volume. Its mission was to make the sentence, "Chinese cars are cheap copies," physically impossible to say with a straight face. On that mission it succeeded completely, but every halo has a shadow. We'll get there. Because while BYD was teaching an SUV to swim, DJI was solving a completely different problem, one that, if anything, matters more. Think about how heavy cargo moves in the hard places of the world. Construction materials up a mountain site, supplies into a flood zone. Today that's helicopter work, thousands of dollars an hour, or human beings carrying loads on their backs. In August 2023, DJI released the FlyCart 30 kilograms of cargo, slung underneath or winched down on a cable, 16 kilometers of range fully loaded, radar and binocular vision threading through mountain terrain. For roughly $17,000, a power company or a disaster agency can own a machine that does a job that used to require a helicopter. In December 2025 came the FlyCart 100, up to 100 kilograms on a single battery. 100 kilograms is not a package, that's generator weight. That's the helicopter business model has a problem weight. And now here's the connection almost nobody draws, and I don't mean a metaphor. The little camera drone living on the U8's roof and the 100-kilogram cargo drone hauling supplies up Everest are built by the same company, on the same foundational mastery that powers the car itself: batteries, motors, power electronics, and the industrial scale to make all three absurdly cheap. The U8's roof dock is, in a sense, a FlyCart's baby sibling. Same DNA, different payload. The car and the drone aren't cousins. In the U8, they're one organism. Ground machine, air machine, one battery architecture, one supply chain, one city. Mini payoff number 3. BYD attacked the luxury car from below. DJI attacked the helicopter from below. And then they merged the two attacks into a single product, and the Western incumbents in both industries had no category for what they were looking at. That was the point. And now, the part of the story the launch events don't mention. Remember that sales number? 77 U8s in August 2025. U8 launched with genuine fanfare, over 1,000 units a month in its early run. Then the curve bent down and kept bending. 77 units is not a slowdown. For a model meant to anchor a luxury brand, it's closer to a flat line. And notice, the drone dock didn't save it. BYD made the Ling Yun system available across its entire lineup. You can get a flying camera on a $55,000 BYD 8, precisely because a $150,000 Halo car alone wasn't moving the needle. When your party trick becomes a mass-market option within 2 years, that's either brilliant diffusion of technology or a confession that the Halo wasn't selling. So the parent company hit a wall of its own. In 2025, BYD posted its first annual profit decline in 4 years. Net profit down 19%, despite selling a record 4.6 million vehicles. Record sales, falling profit, 2 words, price war. When you sell more cars and make less money, you haven't built an empire, you've built a treadmill. The drone side has its own underbelly, and it's geopolitical. DJI sits on American entity lists. U.S. lawmakers have pushed repeatedly to restrict or ban new DJI products from American skies, and that matters for the car too. BYD has not confirmed whether the Ling Yun system will ever be offered outside China. The most jaw-dropping feature on the most advanced SUV on Earth may be legally unexportable to the world's richest market, not because of the car, but because of the drone on its roof. So, here's the twist in one sentence. China proved it can build machines the West hasn't even imagined, machines that fuse industries together, and then discovered that imagination is the easy part. Profitability, market access, and sustainability are the hard part. They always were. Now step all the way back, because the U8 with a drone on its roof isn't really a story about a car and a drone, it's a story about a phase change. For 40 years, the model of Chinese industry was fast follower. That model is dead. Nobody in Munich was working on a floating SUV. Nobody in Seattle had a 100-kilogram delivery drone on the shelf. And nobody, anywhere, had ever mass-produced a car that launches its own aircraft. You cannot fast follow your way to products with no leader to follow. Think about it from the West's position. The comfortable assumption for decades was that China would compete at the bottom, and the prestige tiers were safe. The U8 didn't just drive into the prestige tier, it drove in carrying a DJI drone, which means it dragged a second industry in with it. A Mercedes G-Class doesn't just lose a spec sheet fight to the U8, it loses a dimension. The G-Class has no sky, and think about it from China's position. You have the largest concentration of battery, motor, and power electronics talent on Earth. Your domestic market is a bloodbath, your margins are evaporating, and the richest foreign markets are legislating against you. What do? Exactly what BYD and DJI are doing. Build spectacular proof-of-capability machines, fuse your champions together, flood the markets that will take you, and wait for the world to adjust. The U8 and the FlyCart aren't products, they're arguments. And the Lingyuan dock is the sentence where the two arguments become one. So here's my question for you. Is the Yangwang U8, swimming, tank-turning, launching its own drone off its roof, the smartest brand-building move in automotive history, whatever the sales chart says? Or is it the first visible crack in an empire, a spectacular machine from a company whose profits are falling, whose luxury brand can't find buyers, in an industry eating itself alive? And on the drone side, when a $2,000 factory option gives a car its own air force, is that the future of the automobile, or a feature the West will never be allowed to buy because the drone on the roof is a DJI? Pick a side. Comments are open, and I read every single one. If this video gave you a new way to see the tech race, not as a highlight reel, but as the complicated, high-stakes fight it actually is, that's exactly what this channel exists for. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and you won't miss what's next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.